Hey guys, Jack Davey here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be covering and just discussing a topic with you guys that I don't think is spoken about at all in the Amazon space, and I think it's a super important topic, and I think it's definitely a reality for most of you guys who do actually sell on Amazon and who are currently maybe in the process of scaling your Amazon business. And say, for example, if you're under 50k a month, then you probably will resonate with this video quite a lot. And I'm saying that from experience because I have been in a similar situation before, and I have had this happen to me. So yeah, hopefully this video will be super valuable for you guys. And yeah, just on that topic as well, before I get into the video, if you guys do have any specific video ideas that you want me to cover, whether that be Amazon specific, business specific, lifestyle, mindset, just absolutely anything at all, drop it in the comments of this video, drop your ideas, or drop me a message on Instagram, and I will definitely be sure to make a video on it. At the end of the day, my goal with this channel really is just to provide you guys with as much free value as physically possible. I think, the Amazon FBA coverage in the UK in terms of like how much content there is on YouTube and stuff there is next to nothing out there on YouTube. So yeah, my job is basically just I want to provide you guys with as much free value as possible, and ultimately just help you guys scale your Amazon businesses really. So yeah, I think I'm just going to jump straight into the video. So in terms of the topic that I want to cover in this video, stop being a slave to your own business. Okay, and that's just like the general covenants of it. But what I mean by that is, a lot of you guys start this business and this business model with a goal in mind, right? Everybody who starts a business has a desired outcome, okay? So, everybody's desired outcome is different, and it's not always financially. It can be, other things as well. But usually it's either the motivator to starting the business is either financial freedom, location freedom, or time freedom, or a mix of one, two, or three of them, right? So everybody has these motivators and these driving forces to start a business, and ultimately they don't end up achieving that. A lot of Amazon sellers do not actually end up achieving that goal, okay? What ends up happening is you will probably be in a 9-to-5 job in your normal job, right? And you will start Amazon FBA as a side hustle. Maybe you start doing retail, online arbitrage, and you maybe make the transition to wholesale, or maybe even private label. This may go up for any of you private label sellers, right? You make that transition, and then what ends up happening is you scale from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40k a month, and you start scaling really well in terms of revenue figures. But what ends up happening is you just become the business. Like, you are the business. Like, there is no systems, no processes, no team. You're not delegating any of the tasks. You are the business. So what ends up happening is you end up wearing every single one of the hats in the business. You end up being the finance guy. You end up being the admin guy. You end up being the packer, the labeler, the shipment scheduler, the product sourcer, the negotiator. You end up wearing every single hat within the business. And that is absolutely fine to start with, okay? When you're in like your starting phases within maybe like the first 3, 6, 9 months, like that is absolutely fine. Like there is no problem with that. And majority of businesses that are bootstrapped anyway will have to go through this process in terms of you will wear all the hats. But what I see people mainly struggle with in the Amazon space, and I can speak from experience, from my own experience and from a lot of my students' experiences, they've been the same, and that's ultimately why they've ended up coming to us, is they don't know how to get out of that phase, and they don't know how to transition out of that solopreneur, sole trader kind of business to an actual business where you have SOPs, systems, process, staff, teams, all that kind of thing, and nobody speaks about it enough. So what usually ends up happening in a business is with a lot of Amazon sellers, I see people even at like 100k a month or like similar levels, that they're just so stuck within the business and they're just getting so tired and stressed, right? What ends up happening is you are previously than your job, you get a guaranteed wage every month, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with working a job. And I think working a job for 95% of people is the right thing, right? So they end up quitting their job, which they had guaranteed income, they had consistency, they had less stress, less responsibility, everything like that. From when they transition, they end up having tons more responsibility, because ultimately, if you make a wrong decision, a bad buying decision, a bad whatever it may be, ultimately it's on them and it's on you for, you're the one as the business owner taking the responsibility, right? So they end up having way more responsibility, way more stress as a result of that. They're doing way more work because they're wearing all of the hats within the business. So when they were at their job, that you obviously usually do one role within the business. So you've got less, they've got more responsibility because they're wearing all of the hats. Because they're wearing all of the hats, once you start scaling to 20, 30, 40K a month, your workload just becomes so unbelievably big because you've got to do all the packing, all the sourcing, and you become the bottleneck to the business. And you end up wearing all of these hats in the business, and out of the end of it, you probably aren't even making as much money, right? And that's because they don't know how to raise finance, or you might be making more money. On paper, you might be making more money, right? If you're doing like 20, 30, 40K a month in revenue, you're probably making more money than your job and you was before, but you're probably not actually realizing that gain. And what I mean by that is lots of Amazon sellers, again, another topic that isn't spoken about, which I've done a few videos about in the past. And if you guys want me to do more videos on this topic, then let me know. But it's raising finance, because what ends up happening is, because you're bootstrapped and you don't have external finance, unless you're working initially with like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, what will happen is all of your money, if you really get good at sourcing products, sourcing deals, contacting brands, negotiating, that kind of thing, and you're scaling to 20, 30, 40K a month, on paper, you'll be making good money, but what happens is all of the cash flow is just tied up in that stock. So every single month, your stock value is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but you're not actually able to realize that cash and realize those gains. So ultimately, on paper, yes, you're making more money, but you're not actually able to realize that. So your cash is tied up in your stock and in the business. So you've got, what I see, and this happened to me as well, is you quit your job, you start really scaling the business, you get good numbers on paper, but you're stuck tied in the business. You don't really know how to get out of it. You don't know how to delegate. You don't know what to do. You don't know what the next steps are, and you're really just stuck in this in this cycle, and you're just stuck in this job, really a job that you're wearing all the hats with. You're growing it and stuff, but you're plateauing, and you don't really know how to get out of it. And ultimately, you're not actually achieving what you set out to achieve, which is probably financial time or location freedom or some sort of that, right? You're probably tied down to, if you've got a small warehouse or a small unit, if you're the only person there, or maybe you have like one part-time worker or something, if the deliveries come, you have to be at that warehouse to accept the delivery. And it's not a case of, a lot of you guys who have warehouses, or even if you're Amazon sellers in general, right, you'll understand that you'll have to wait. Sometimes you'll have to wait in every single day, all day, for deliveries. And if you're scaling to 20, 30K a month, 20, 30, 40K a month, you will have deliveries maybe 2, 3, 4 times a week. So it restricts your time and location, actually having to be there every single day. And sometimes, a delivery might come at 8 a.m. in the morning, or it could come at 6 p.m. So it's like you're waiting on this delivery all day, every day, to actually just be able to take the stock in. So that's one of the things of like, how you're just so restrained to that specific place and at a specific time. So not many people actually end up achieving what they want to achieve. And ultimately, why is that? And the reason why I think it is most people actually, they start this business, as I did, with very little business experience. They don't understand business, finance, cash flow, all these different kind of like basic components of a business, really. They don't understand what they are and how to do them, just because they maybe started off as a side hustle, scaled quite fast, saw the opportunity, jumped, and maybe you haven't quit your job, maybe you're still working your job, and maybe you're still doing it as a side hustle, right? But maybe you still resonate slightly with this video, right? But you just don't know the core principles of like how to delegate, how to implement systems and processes, how to actually remove yourself from the day-to-day business, because ultimately, as how you're going to actually transition out of this, and ultimately the reason why is because you don't know how to delegate, and you don't know how to delegate, right? That's the reason. And to start understanding how to delegate, what you have to do is you have to start understanding, right, within the business, there are loads of different tasks, right? At the moment, you've got to analyze and weigh up all of the different tasks that you're competing in the business, right? So maybe like the admin stuff, packing, labeling, scheduling shipments, sourcing, negotiating with suppliers, opening accounts, that kind of thing. You've got to understand what are what's called needle moving tasks within the business, and the needle moving tasks are what I call like tasks that are actually going to drive the business revenue forward. What's actually going to move the business forward? Okay, so tasks like the needle moving tasks are like the higher value tasks. So you've got to understand what are the higher value tasks to you, and what's actually going to get you the best return on those higher value tasks, and what are the lower value tasks. So what are the tasks that aren't actually going to drive the revenue forward and that kind of thing. And what your job ultimately is to do is focus as much time as physically possible on those higher value tasks and the needle moving tasks, and try to delegate everything else. So the admin, the finance, accounting, packing and labeling, scheduling shipments, all that kind of thing. You need to outsource and delegate as much of that as physically possible, so that you can actually spend your time doing what you should be doing as a business owner and actually moving the business forward, driving it forward. Whereas what usually happens is you'll get to a bottleneck at probably at 20, 30, 40k a month, where you've scaled quite well and you're doing okay, but then you get to a point where the workload just becomes too much, and that's the point where you need to start implementing systems, processes, SOPs, delegating to staff, right? And building a team so that you can turn it in and transition it from, this is why I use the term quite regularly of like transitioning from a side hustle into an actual business. Now, when I say side hustle to a business as well, like, it's quite a broad term. What I actually mean by that is, like, you may be making more money than what classifies as a side hustle. You may be even making like 20, 30, 40,000 pound a month in sales. But that's because of the way you run it, and because you wear all the hats, it's still a side hustle. Whereas transitioning from that side hustle into an actual business, and that's what ultimately so many people in the Amazon space don't talk about and don't know how to do, right? And ultimately, again, like, what ends up happening to every single, like, so many people I see, there are a few exceptions, but so many people will get to the stage of like 20, 30, 40k a month, and then they'll plateau because they don't know where to go, and they'll have way more responsibility, less cash, ultimately a glorified job, but with tons more responsibility. So it all ultimately makes no sense, and it's not actually getting you any closer to the goals that you want to achieve, right? So ultimately, what you need to do is you need to delegate. Okay, so I've been in your position, or if I've been in that position before, so like, I know how it is, and I've spent the last 4.5, 5 years growing my own Amazon business and finding out these mistakes myself, to actually realize how to actually turn this into a proper business. And I've had it, and I see majority of the students that we take on, all of them are the same. Like, lots of them are the same. They have the same goal, the same outcome of, like, they want either financial, time, or location freedom, maybe to spend more time with the family, or to travel, or to do whatever it may be, whatever their driver force may be. But they're not actually achieving that. And that's because ultimately they don't know how to delegate. They don't know what systems, process, and things to implement. So if this does sound like you, or if you do resonate with this video, maybe you're doing 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20, 30, 40k a month, but you're still trapped within your business, and some of the things I've spoken about in this video resonate with you, go to the description of this video and book a call with myself or one of my team, right? And we can just have a discussion, an informal conversation about, like, where it is you're at, ultimately where it is you're at the moment, where it is you're looking to get to, and can we help? And that's it. And if we can't help, I promise we won't waste your time, and we will just tell you there and then, right? Because we ultimately want to take on people who are the actually want to achieve the goals that we can help them achieve, right? So if you are an Amazon seller, go to the description of this video and book in a call. Whether you're doing retail, online, arbitrage, maybe you're doing wholesale, or just anything at all, if you're an Amazon seller and you want to actually transition from a side hustle into an actual business, book a call in the description. And just to finalize as well, any video ideas that you guys do have, please drop them in the comments. I promise I will try my best to make every single a video on every single one of them. And yeah, I think that's about everything. I hope you guys have taken lots of value out of this video, and yeah, I will see you on the next one.